22 years old when I came to prison.
I was 30 years old when I went to prison.
I was at the age of 19. I had just turned 19, just a very young age.
I was 29 years old when I came to prison.
I was arrested 3 weeks before my 16th birthday.
I was 16 years old when I caught this charge. I was actually 17 when I was convicted and came to prison.
No one plans to go to prison. So how did these men wind up spending the best years of their lives incarcerated with life sentences, many on death row? The common denominator is that they made bad choices and bad decisions.
I was convicted of first-degree murder and burglary.
I was convicted of 2 counts of second-degree murder. In my life at that time, it was involved nothing but drugs. Drugs, drugs, and more drugs.
I was convicted of 3 counts of first-degree felony murder. I had been dealing with small amounts of marijuana, and I fell in with a group that imported 20 tons of marijuana from South America in January of 1977.
These men made bad choices, and many of these choices were made under the influence of drugs and alcohol when they were young.
I've been in prison 37 years.
I've been in prison 36 years now.
I have been incarcerated now for 31 years.
Well, I've been able to survive in prison for 34 years, and I made a lot of bad choices as a young person. The first bad choice was to use drugs and alcohol beginning at the age of 12. Later on, I began to hang out with the wrong group of people. Bad choices led to more bad choices that led to a tragedy.
At that time in my life, when I was convicted of first-degree murder, I was going through some personal problems, and I got involved with some drug dealers, and the drug deal went bad, and unfortunately, one human being lost his life.
I came from a very good family and was in a very good family. I had been married 9 years, had 3 children, owned my home. The things that usually made for a citizen. I spent about 3.5 years on death row. I've been in prison 36 years now.
I got involved with a lot of drug smugglers. At the school where I was and in my neighborhood, we were handpicked a lot of the drug smugglers and stuff to help them.
Society as a whole often writes off convicts as being born criminals. However, that's just not the case. In fact, it could be argued that we are all just one bad decision away from incarceration.
It's a violent world inside of prison. You learn to cope with the violence. You learn to adjust and adapt to the atmosphere you're living in.
I gave up my home, my truck, my everything, and that I based my self-esteem on. I just figured that everything was over with.
I didn't have too much knowledge. I didn't have responsibility that actually took and valued life at that time.
When the judge sentenced me, imposed a sentence of life imprisonment with a minimum mandatory 25 years, I did not really understand just exactly what that meant. That was probably one of the most traumatic experiences I've ever had in my life.
It's absolutely nothing like what you see on TV.
So how do we keep people from making bad decisions? One way is to stop children from using drugs and alcohol. There's a lot more known about brain development today than ever before. For example, recent studies focused on marijuana show that certain parts of the brain have many cannabinoid receptors, and as a result, the THC in marijuana affects thinking and problem solving, learning and memory, focus and attention, impaired coordination, and finally, judgment. Marijuana is the most widely used illegal substance among young people. In fact, by the time they graduate high school, 45% of high school students have already used marijuana. Nearly 22% of high school seniors report current use, and 6% report daily usage. Research shows that marijuana can have permanent effects on the developing adolescent brain, especially with regular or heavy use. Heavy and regular marijuana usage is linked to school dropout and lower academic achievement. And for those who think marijuana is not addictive, 1 in 6 teenagers who repeatedly use marijuana can become addicted.
One piece of advice that I would give to at-risk youth right now: choose the people that you hang out with wisely. And don't think that you have to follow a particular group of people or hang out with a certain group of people and do something that you know is wrong just because you want to be accepted by them.
No one starts out in life thinking they're going to end up in prison, especially with a life sentence. However, as you have seen and heard in this video, drugs and alcohol can cloud judgment and lead to bad decisions.
Please release me. Let me go.
And we are all just one bad decision from incarceration.